Have you ever been to a dance class and heard terms like that was so groovy, or like somebody saying like that person was so on beat or so offbeat, or maybe someone saying something like that musicality was insane, and maybe the instructor going, so the rhythm of the next track goes like ka 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 ka, ka, making sounds, clapping hands. If none of that ever made sense to you, this video is for you. And if all of that does make sense to you, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks to kind of work on all of those concepts that's going to make you a better dancer. So let's get started with first talking about what the beat is. The beat is the constant pulse in the song. So it could be something like a and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. It stays constant throughout the song, and the number of beats that are in a minute is measured as BPM and called the tempo of the song. Both of these are very important concepts for dancers because you want to be on time. First, you want to be on time, and also you want to be in the tempo of the music. So I have a beat here, very boring beat, just to give you an example of what that would be like. So this beat is going to run at 60 beats per minute, which is, if you think about a clock ticks 60 times in 1 second, in 1 minute. So that would be 60 ticks per minute, or in music, it'll be 60 beats per minute. So let's hear this out. Very simple, 1 beat, 1 second. Now you speed that up to something like 90 BPM, maybe for a hip hop track. Something like a click track or a metronome, and if you don't know what that is, you can Google it, is what I use, for example, to stay on beat when I'm making music. But for dancers, we're going to talk about how to find the beat and how to stay on beat while recognizing the tempo of the song, because you don't have a click track, but you have something that is very close to a click track in the music. So let's talk about the rhythm. The rhythm section of a song can very simply be described as the drums and the bass. That's it. Drums and the bass form the rhythm section of the music in very simple terms. Now, if you're talking about the drum and the bass, they need to come together in a certain way that makes you want to move. So this is why the rhythm section is so important for not just the song, but for dancers as well, because we're dancing to the song. Because that is the part of the song that makes you want to tap your feet, makes you want to maybe clap your hands, maybe nod your head, whatever it is. It makes you want to move and groove, which we'll talk about in a bit. I was looking up the description of the rhythm section again. Now, I am not, a musician with years and years of experience. I got into it because of my mentors so that I can teach better. And a description that I found that made sense to me is it is when and for how long a specific musical event happens in time. So as music is on a time scale, when does the kick happen? When does the snare happen? How long does it happen for? All of that together, because it's just a bunch of sounds at the end of the day, but you put them in a specific way along with the bass, you put them together in a certain way, in a certain tempo that makes you want to groove. When I'm typically listening to a song, and a lot of the dancers that I work with, when they're typically listening to a song, everybody listens to different things. So how I kind of start, and I teach my students how to start with, is also kind of splitting the song into its layers, right? And then you split it into the drum layer, you split it into the vocal layer. And as you split it into different layers, I use the drum as my compass to find the beat. That's my click track. That's my metronome to find the beat and also to find the tempo of the song. I can explain that very simply by, let me play a song first, and then I'm gonna play just the drum track of that song so you can kind of hear what I mean by that. So this is just something that I put together, so check this out. All right. So lots of things happening in the song. There's the drum, there's the bass, there's piano chords, there's some guitars in there, there's some vocals there as well. So let me just play just the drums so you can kind of see what I mean by you finding the pulse of the song by using the drum and the bass, but I'm going to just talk about the drums because that's what I use. So just the drums, here it goes. Wait, I'm missing a drum. Now, there. 1 and 2 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 2 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 1 and 2 and 4. So it helps you find the beat and the tempo. So if I was to count out how many beats I count in that minute, that would give me the BPM of the song. This is currently running at 90 BPM. It could also run at 100. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 4. See, you can speed it up, you can slow it down, but the drum acts like my click track to help me find the beat and the pulse of the song and also how fast that's going. And that is important for you because as a dancer, you want to be on beat, not off beat, because you want to be on beat. And we'll talk about how that is the first step of finding your groove, is to be on beat and to know where the beat is and the tempo of the song. So now that you know what the beat is, you know how to find the beat and the tempo of the song by listening to a piece of music and then listening to the drums and the bass together. Or for me, I just work up the drum. That just works for me. I'm also a b-boy. I just naturally gravitate to the drums. Now let's talk about what the groove is. So sometimes you go to class and you hear somebody say, that was so groovy. Or a lot of my students would say, I'm so stiff. I just want to be more, they couldn't put a finger on it, but they're like, I want to be more groovy. So I tried to look into a description of what groovy is for many, many years now. And because the word groove comes from musicians, I looked up many videos of musicians being interviewed and they're being asked, what do you think is the groove? And a lot of them said something along the lines of, it is a feeling. It is not something tangible, but it is a feeling. So how do you explain or teach a feeling to a student? How do you say, dude, you just gotta feel it, or hey, you just have to feel it? Sure, they have to feel it, but how do you explain that? So I dug deeper, and one of these classes with Mr. Wiggles, he was explaining how to be in the pocket or in the groove. And I'll tell you what he said on how he teaches his students and how he taught me through that video to be on, in the groove or in the pocket. And that's a lot of that I've taken into my classes as well. I find that groove can be split into two components. The first one, for a dancer, for the first one is to be on beat. So you figure out the rhythm section of the song. Now you know where the beats are and you know what the tempo of the song is. And then now you're going to be on beat. For a simple two-step, it could be 1 and 2. So step and step and step and step, step and step. Just 2 steps, 1 step on the 1, the second step on the 2. So you're on beat now. The thing that happens in the middle, what Mr. Wiggles calls adding the funk, adding the flavor, adding your style, that is the second part of the groove. And that is dictated by a variety of things. It's the feeling again. What you feeling between the 1 and the 2? What's happening in the music? What are the bass and the drum doing that makes you want to, I don't know, maybe you want to add in a shoulder, maybe you want to add in a rock, maybe you want to add in a bounce. It's up to you. If you don't know what to do, that's when instructor would probably tell the students, here are some tools. I don't like teaching the groove because it has to come naturally. I like teaching the tools that are going to help students find the groove on their own, because that's going to last longer. I don't want them to copy what I'm doing mindlessly, because I want them to know that there are tools that they can use to show what the music is asking them to do. Now, Mr. Wiggles, typically, he started that specific class by saying 2-step, Or an outlaw step, but he added a rock. He's like in between the 1 and the 2, add a rock. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 5 and 6. So you can add that, or just a bounce and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Now you can add some hands and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. You can add hands. You can throw whatever you want. Now you're getting into another concept as well, polyrhythms. So different rhythms happening at the same time. My hands could be doing something else while my feet are following the 1 and 2, while my upper body is doing something else, following another rhythm in the song that I may have picked up or my body may have picked up and decided to do. We're not going to dive into polyrhythms, but those are the two components of what a groove is, in my opinion: being on beat and then filling out what is in between the beats with your funk, as Mr. Wiggles would call it. Now let's talk about musicality. What is musicality? Now, this term gets thrown around quite a lot in a class setting or online. A lot of dancers use it. So let's say you're watching one of your friends perform at the end of class, and then you notice them do something to the music that makes you realize that that instrument or that specific sound exists in the music. You didn't know it existed before they decided to accent that, do something with their body that accented that. Now that blew you away because you're like, hey, I didn't even know that existed, but their body became a true representation of the music, and they heard that sound and they decided to respond to it, to respond to the call of the music with something. And that is maybe when you decided to say that their musicality is insane, because they broke the song into its layers and then they heard that sound in one of the layers in their brain. Now, this doesn't mean that, you split a song into the drums and the bass and whatever other layers, split it into it, and you have to hit all the layers. You can jump from layer to layer. You can jump from layer to layer. When people say you have good musicality, it doesn't mean that they're hitting all of the layers. It does not mean that. It just means that their body is a true representation of the music, and they're doing these polyrhythms while they're hitting the drums, and then maybe there's a hi-hat and they're kind of hitting the hi-hats as well. Their body just becomes one with the music. Again, it bleeds back into the rhythm, the groove, the layers in the music. They have a very good understanding of the music, and that is helping them, build this piece and show the movement that is highlighting the music. If I had my headphones on, I had noise cancellation, and I couldn't hear the music, and I saw somebody just move, I should be able to tell what the song could possibly be, because their body is just moving to that music so well that even without the music, I kind of have an idea of what the music could be like, right? So that is the ultimate goal for many, many dancers. So one mistake that a lot of people make is, typically when they're starting, they try to hit all of the beats. They're like, I gotta hit like every cymbal and every hi-hat, and you gotta go quicker and like hit every beat alive. And that might be super impressive, but I've been cautioned by my mentors that, hey, like, you don't have to hit everything. No, maybe you have to just want to hit the horns. There's the horns in the track and you want to just stop rock to the horns. That is showing a level of musicality that is different from maybe what others are doing, but that's how you're hearing the music. You decide to top rock to the horns, and then you decide to, do your footwork to the hi-hats. You switch it up. You add variety, right? I personally get, I lose my groove. Like, I'm not in the pocket anymore. I'm not in the music anymore when I try to hit every beat alive there, right? So I like to switch it up a little bit and go between the layers. And my mentors have always suggested doing that. Like, I was training with Wicket the other day, and it was like, you gotta hear the horns in the back and you dance to the horns in the back, not the drums. And this was a breaking track that he had made. So You know, there's no right or wrong answer, but you don't have to hit every beat in the song. You just, to have good musicality, you understand all the layers, and you choose what you want to highlight in the music. So now you know what a beat is, how to find the beat and the tempo of the song in the music, what the rhythm section of the song is, and why the drums are important and the bass is important, and how to find the tempo and be on beat, because you now are able to split the song into many layers. You figured out what the groove is, a description of the groove, and the two components of the groove for a dancer. You got to be on beat, and you also got to add the funk in between the beats, as Mr. Wiggles would call it. And then now you know what musicality is as well. That is your understanding of the track, being able to split the track into its different layers, like we were doing in our exercise here. We were splitting it up into the drum layer and the bass layer, and you know, all of that stuff, being able to do that in your mind, and then choosing what you want to dance to and jumping from layer to layer to layer. So if you have any questions and you have other ideas, feel free to drop that in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you feel that this is going to help anybody out there, feel free to share this video. Would love for more dancers to see it. If you liked what you saw, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel so you can keep following my Monday drops. There's lots of other content that I plan on dropping, not just for dancers, but you know, just music lovers in general, or fitness enthusiasts, like so many different things, and I can't wait to share all of that with you. Just a disclaimer again, I am not a musician by any means. I was pushed down this path by my mentors, specifically Mr. Wiggles and Bboy Wicket. I got this drum machine after actually, this is my second drum machine. I had a drum machine before as well. I have the TR, not the 808, the TR-08, so the smaller version of it. It's just right in front of me. And I started making music after I saw Wicket do it, and he suggested that I create some beats on my own so I can understand the music better. And Mr. Wiggles as well said the same thing, and they both make their own amazing break beats and like funk tracks, and you know, I download them all the time and I use them for my sessions. A lot of the stuff that I used in this video today is from both of them together, so shout out to both of them. And Mr. Wiggles, I am on his Patreon. It's $3 a month, and he drops gems all the time. So if you can afford it, I would highly recommend that. He talks a lot about all of this as well. Some of the stuff I kind of deduced from multiple different sources. But yeah, I'm gonna try and be as honest with you as I can. I'm still learning. I've been doing this for almost 20 years now, and I thought it was time now to share with everybody. And I really enjoy doing this in class, and a lot of the stuff I say here, I say the exact same thing in class, along with the sources. Anything I say here, if it's my opinion, I'll tell you this is what I've deduced from multiple different conversations, or this is what I've got from this source, because usually what happens is a lot of the times opinion and fact are not separated, and I don't like that because that creates confusion. And when I say fact, I mean fact coming from sources who have, you know, are legit. So they study from other sources who were there when the culture started, for example, right? So thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you subscribe and share with anybody who's interested. It's every Monday, so I can't wait to drop another video on the next Monday. Yeah, and then before we sign off, I hope you have a really cool rest of the week. I'm gonna play this track one more time just so you guys can kind of hear it and jam to it, and I'm gonna sign out and go to bed. Let's get it.